And here we are, spawning in the bottom left. In the blue, representing ENCE Esports, it's SERRAL. And in the upper right, in the red, for Team NV, he is the one, the only, he's MARU. And now, the question we must ask ourselves is how is this game gonna play out? Of course, MARU, he has a penchant. He has a proclivity for SERRAL has shown a bit more of a penchant, bit more of a proclivity for aggressive play, for hitting with a 19 drone Ro8 attack, something like that. And for doing that, maybe catching his opponent off guard because he wants to remove that idea that he's only a macro Zerg. He's gonna win the late game. But, you know, he doesn't have to get there anymore. He wants to prove that he can do that. And actually, considering how some of the matchups are going for him right now, well, I don't blame him. As we've seen, well, you may not, but SERRAL has been pretty vocal complaining about late game ZVP at the moment. Now, granted, there is no Protoss in this matchup, but he's been pretty vocal about complaining about how broken late game ZVP kind of feels once you get to that +3 Sky Toss Carrier Storm Army. Just gets rather annoying to deal with. But anyway, that's not exactly what we're going to see here. No early Roach attack coming on in game number 1 is SERRAL, of course, gone for 16, 18, 17. We do have the Reaper Expand coming in for MARU, so none of that zanier New Edge Reaper skip, New Age, excuse me, not New Edge. That's how the saying goes. Absolutely, none of that zany or New Age Reaper skipping builds that you go on and go for some sort of Hellbat thing. If you want to see something like that, Kira's been playing a lot of games. They will be posted to this YouTube channel if they are not already posted. So make sure you go check that out if that's what you're interested in. There's some really interesting builds, and they seem to be decently successful. But again, that is not exactly what MARU is going for in this game. Now, he has the opportunity to maybe do something like that, but again, it's not going to be the same build I'm talking about. We don't see the Reaper get skipped. It's not this weird Hellbat Marine timing that Kira has been doing so much. But now, of course, we do have the Reaper coming on in, and you've got to remember here, it is unlikely that MARU is able to get anything, even with as good as his macro is. And I'm actually not sure whether this is MARU's map or SERRAL's map from a server perspective, because of course, the TSL, well, every game that has been played in 2020 is played online. And what that means, of course, well, I guess Katowice was offline, but that was the last offline tournament. But anyway, so that does mean that the players are not playing. They're not playing on the same server. They're not playing locally. So ping is an issue. So maybe that's why MARU was not quite as aggressive with his Reaper as he normally would be. But once again, this is SERRAL. You really don't expect him to make a mistake in the early game. In fact, even doing something like losing your creep tumor is just out of the ordinary for the Finnish Phenom. But again, MARU, he is incredible, and I'm kind of excited to see what he's got coming up. So, what do we see? Tech Lab coming on that probably is just going to be for STEM. Yeah, this is a 3cc play. And it looks like SERRAL is definitely not going for any sort of 2.5 base, 3 base muta, something like that he has been wanting to do on occasion, but we're not really seeing that right now. So, kind of just a standard greedy 3 base opener coming from the Zerg player to balance out the greedy 3 base opener from our Terran player. So it all works out at the end of the day. Now we have the Overlord coming on in, as SERRAL, his real goal here is to scout what the tech path is, or well, scout the fact that there is a 3rd command center on the way. Orbital coming on in, SERRAL has scouted that, and he's going to try to save his Overlord, but that's not going to happen. Not on this map. This is a fake high ground anyways. So between the fake high ground and the Viking coming on out, that is a dead Overlord. But SERRAL knows exactly what is happening in this game. He saw everything that he needed to see. And now what we're just going to see, we should just see a lot of drones get pumped on out here as he gets into his upgrades rather quickly. He's going to get a Baneling Nest, Baneling Speed coming on in. And the first question we must ask ourselves in this game, well, maybe not the first question we must ask ourselves, but the first relevant mid-game question we need to ask is, what exactly is SERRAL's preferred tech in this game? Is he going to go Hydraling Bane into Lurker, as so many Zergs have really found great utility with over the last several months? Is he going to go into Mutilating Bane, as it's a bit more maybe a bit higher of a skill floor, but also of a, I'm not gonna say higher of a skill ceiling because they're both valid, but maybe a bit higher of a skill floor, a little bit more difficult to do, a little bit more, I don't know, just maybe just doesn't feel quite as strong as a Hydra Lurker Viper does, but it's still absolutely a valid stylistic choice coming on in. As MARU, he's going to try to remove some of this creep, but again, there are 4 queens here. No big deal. The spread should be able to... There we go. So nothing really lost. Now this Liberator's coming on in, but the queen firing away, and with this Spore coming on down, yeah, the queen will be able to take out that Liberator, and of course, the Viking on in the high ground. What did it get? Did it get a drone? Yes, okay. Viking was able to get 1 drone for its Trevels. And that's not a whole lot. So MARU's early aggression, I mean, he's not really committing to this super hard, but it really has not been able to get a whole lot done. Now this, though, is he going to run out in here? 2 workers will die immediately. I wouldn't mind seeing him target that queen down. That would be a very nice little pick-off for him, but no, he's not going to do that. Only 3 workers are going to go down here, and now the queens are going to start firing away. There we go. Now we have the queen dying. But there's just not a lot of Zerglings on the map at the moment. Now we have 5 total drones go down, as well as a decent amount of creep. But that is, of course, in exchange for... Nice micro there from MARU. And he will be able to keep those last 2 Hellions alive. So 4 Hellions for 5 drones and a queen. Yeah. Absolutely, MARU's got to be happy with that. And on the other side of the map, of course, SERRAL, he is going for Hydroling Bane. He is going for that style. We should see a Lurker Den. Well, actually, there are a couple different ways you can play this. You can play on Hydroling Bane for quite a bit, as you just establish map pressure and don't really do a whole lot to move out onto the other side of the map. But you can also go the style that Raynor was doing for a bit, where pretty much the Lurker Den and the Infestation Pit go down as soon as the Hydra Den is... Oh, these queens are in excellent position here. They will try to target one of these Medivacs down. They will not get it. But we do not have a... Okay, we have a Spore in the main base. So there's a chance one of these Medivacs will just get targeted down. The queens will have to back up because well, once the drop comes off, especially with +1... Ooh, this is actually a problem. MARU only just now getting his +1 armor on the way. Did he forget that? Yeah. So yeah, he did have two eBays, and only getting +1 attack. That's an issue. That means his army is going to be down. Well, 2 to 3 upgrades compared to his opponent for a majority of this game. Oh, not sorry, 1 to 3, I guess. But now we do have this push coming on in here. Widowmine, Hellbat Marine. And again, it's pretty cool to see that the addition of Hellbats into Terran armies over the last little bit of time. Now, of course, this is not a big commitment to Hellbats. This is just, hey, I had Hellions, I might as well use Hellbats, and it will be shoot away without too many issues. Now, this Widowmine is going to be a little bit annoying. There we go, but it's going to get 2 Zerglings, no big deal. And what I do like to see here, of course, is SERRAL is being really well, never mind, not really. He's not really. I say he's being really active with replacing that creep, but. Not quite, but of course he is establishing his hold on this high ground position, going to make it that much more difficult for MARU to just kind of siege up on the edge of creep and slowly push forward. All right, so now MARU beginning this trademark ability of his, where he's gonna really fight on 2 sides of the map at once. So getting a queen immediately is gonna be a pretty nice pickoff. Now these Widowmines are gonna try to morph, but well, this is one of the reasons why you go Hydras against this style. Hydras, of course, do outrange Banelings, so Hydras just do outrange Widowmines. So Hydras just target Widowmines down, and the Widowmine's not nearly as impactful as tanks would be in this situation. But hey, we've just seen Terrans really lean in to this Widowmine style. That has been. Well, it's just been really impactful. And now MARU, he's managed to find his way around here. This drop will be able to get on top of this 5th base. And SERRAL's army, not really there for the moment. I don't know if that was an F2 or just he's trying to get aggressive on the left-hand side of the map. But MARU will be able to force a cancel on the left-hand side, even as SERRAL's looking to get aggressive on the right-hand side here. Now, this is going to be a difficult position for him to really attack into. A lot of Widowmines. There's only 1 tank, though, so that is an opportunity. Banelings, MARU actually not splitting at the moment. Banelings are going to make really good connections here. But it looks like SERRAL does not have quite enough as a bunch of his Zerglings, bunch of his Banelings were dealing with the economic situation of our red Terran player. But no, SERRAL's going to run on in once again, get on top of all these Widowmines, get on top of the tank. Well, not get on top of the tank necessarily, but 4 more SCVs will go down. And SERRAL, he's in a decent position here, just posturing to making sure that this 4th base, or really the 3rd base, does not stay up. But now, as the rallies come on in, and MARU repositions himself, it's going to be a little bit more precarious. And you got to remember, MARU, he does have his 4th base up. It is a planetary. It's going to be difficult for SERRAL to really get on top of. Unless it's just a, Baneling bust. And actually, I think that's what we see SERRAL getting ready to do right now. So we do see a decent amount of his army on the left-hand side. A lot of Banelings getting morphed on in there. Alright, so this is a +1 upgrade at the moment. We have a nice little surround coming on in here, and MARU will be forced back up, but of course, this is only just one. This is just one army, as we do have SERRAL on the left-hand side, trying to see whether he can get on top of this base, but no, it looks like he's, yeah, okay, this drop coming on in is worrisome. He wants to make sure that he doesn't lose too much to the Widow Mines, as the first Widow Mine won't get anything done. And there we go, second one's just going to get targeted down as well. Nice cleanup there from SERRAL. We have seen Terran players start to do this more and more over the last, I want to say 2 months. As of the recording of this video, and it tends to get terrible damage. 26 workers is not uncommon to see die to 4 Widow Mines at this stage in the game. So SERRAL being able to take that with no economic damage, it's a pretty good situation for him. As now he will find this drop from MARU, and there we go. It's going to be picked up once again. Now the Hydras are there, and they will just barely not be able to pick off any of these medevacs. 2 of these medevacs are super low. But hey, while they live, they breathe. While they live, they heal, and that's the most important thing. And it should be pointed out, of course, SERRAL's creep spread is doing pretty great in this game. He gives them an excellent attack avenue on both the left and right side of the map here. And yeah, SERRAL's not really going to be able to attack into there all that much, but he is forcing MARU's army to really try to circle around. But there was a moment where SERRAL could have crushed into the right-hand side, maybe got something done. But MARU, realizing his weakness, now he is repositioned. And we have 3-3 on the way for our Terran player, as SERRAL only got his +3 armor. Now his Hydras are a little bit stronger now. He does have +1 attack on the Hydras, but we don't see a Lurker. Okay, Lurker Den just now getting on in. Generally, I'm surprised we don't see the Lurker Den faster, because generally you want the Lurker Den to be done by the time your hive is done, so you can get immediately into Lurker upgrades. But that just does not appear to be SERRAL's game plan here. As MARU, he's got an army on the left-hand side, and there's just not enough from SERRAL to deal with this. Not right now. Now, maybe with this, maybe the rally coming in, but look at this Widow Mine positioning, all from the backhand side, because he knows that is where SERRAL's going to be coming from. But of course, now we do have SERRAL's army. He's coming on in, and there we go. One medevac will get taken out. So nice cleanup there from SERRAL. Not really going to lose too much. Only a little bit of energy on a Viper, a couple of Banelings. And SERRAL is starting to build his bank. He does not have I'm surprised we don't see either +3 attack or +2 attack, whether it's melee or range, coming on in for the finished Phenom, for our finished Zerg player. But okay, there we go. Never mind. I guess he just didn't have enough gas for it at the moment. But the Lurker Den is done. We should start to see Lurker upgrades coming on in rather soon. Now SERRAL's going to look for the bust once again. Blinding Clouds on top of all of these tanks. So that means that the Hydras, the Zerglings, the Banelings are going to come crashing on in. And this looks like a pretty good fight from SERRAL at the start of things. But if you look at the supply at the end of the day, it's okay. It's not amazing. And more importantly, of course, with all of this, is the fact that MARU, because he was able to hold, because he didn't lose too much to that attack coming on in, he's now going to be able to potentially take that 5th base, being able to get into that late game Terran economy that is so scary, that he's able to get in that incredibly gas expensive army. We go into Ghosts. That Widow Mine shot, actually really powerful. What should he get? 10 kills, and most of them were Banelings. So excellent Widow Mine shot right there. As SERRAL does appear to be missing detection with his army. Alright, there we go. But now MARU, he has his 5th base up and running. Planetary is on the way for it. Or it is on the way as a planetary. And that means he can afford Ghosts. He can afford Cloak. He maybe get on into Nukes later on. But he's able to start affording this big army. That's going to allow him to really fight this what will eventually be a heavy Lurker composition. There we go. Lurkers are just now getting done. I don't know exactly where they are on the map, but we do have... Okay, there we go. Lurkers on the right-hand side, as SERRAL just looks to defend this on the left-hand side. Banelings aren't going to connect as nice as possible, but at the end of the day, it is a cleanup. So now we have SERRAL's army coming on in. Now, he will burrow on top of these tanks, but you got to remember, these are slow Lurkers at the moment. They fire for forever, but they don't unburrow all that fast. That means that getting aggressive with them is not the easiest thing in the world. So now we have the Terran army. It's going to try to maybe find a position on the high ground where it can go for a full-on surround here. This Widow Mine positioning is just really annoying. But now, Adaptive Talon's done in 10 seconds, so we have a full surround on here. A nice Blinding Cloud just on top of the Planetary to make sure the Planetary cannot fire back. And now we have a flank coming in from MARU from behind. But with the Baneleys coming into surround here, who is flanking whom here? Looks like SERRAL's got an absolutely fantastic fight coming on in, as MARU's supply is just plummeting. SERRAL up 30 army supply. The third base has been forced to lift, as the fifth base is just going down. So now SERRAL really in the driver's seat in this game. Now Ghost will go get some snipes off, but they will not get snipes off of the Lurkers, and that's the important thing. The Lurkers are the backbone of this army. They are what allows SERRAL to stand and fight. As long as they stay alive. SERRAL, he's just trading so cost effectively in this game. And you might say, hey, Beowulf, he is down 3,000 resources. He's not been trading all that great, but you gotta remember, that is only 3,000 resources in a ZVT, where SERRAL has been up 1 to 2 bases the entire game. He can absolutely afford to trade just close enough to even where that works out. Especially as he's keeping MARU away from MARU's own economic options. Sure, let's call it like that. Now SERRAL looks like he's getting ready to go on in here for what could be the final fight of this game. His army is bigger, it is better, and well, MARU's actually really out of position here. So we do have we have Lurkers coming on in immediately. Vipers holding back, of course, just to make sure that they don't get sniped, don't get EMP'd, because the goal here is to. Oh, and that snipe actually will go off. The goal here, of course, is to yoink the tank, be able to prevent the tank from happening. Nice Blinding Cloud on top of things. The Lurkers, they're not getting the best fight possible, but I mean, they're still getting a good enough. Their fight's still good enough. Here's Blinding Cloud on top of the tank, and Ghost will get abducted. And there we have it. Yeah, that army, it was eventually getting whittled down, but well, for the rest of things, there was just more where that came from. So SERRAL at the 1-0 lead, playing an incredible game on was that Romanticide? No. Yeah. On Oxide in game number 1. Really just playing a solid defensive style. And hey, it worked out for him as he took game 1 pretty easily. In just about 16 minutes, but this is a best of 5. There's more than one game in a series. Let's get into game 2. And here we are, spawning in the bottom right in the red, up 1-0 in this best of 5 for NC Esports. It's SERRAL. And in the upper left, in the red, representing Team NV, it's MARU. So, game number 1, we did see, well, we saw MARU try to get aggressive play on both sides of the map, and really just was not able to break. Was not really just able to break SERRAL on the map, and eventually SERRAL got to the late game army that he's been looking for. He found MARU where he wasn't in proper position, and from there, well. And from there, he was just able to sit in a position where MARU just kind of eventually died as SERRAL slowly whittled him away, denied his fourth base, denied his third base, and denied his fifth base. And then he just got into a lot of Lurkers and said, hey, MARU, fight this. And it looked like MARU maybe had an opportunity for the moment, as he was on that 4 to 5 base economy that allows you to fight Hydra Lurker Viper so much. But, well, you gotta remember, this is SERRAL we're talking about, and he just kind of ran in and said, yeah, you don't get an economy in this game. You don't get to build the ghost count you want. You don't get to that late game tech. You don't get to get about 100. You don't get to sit on low economy for a bit so you can get to 150 army supply and steamroll me with that. No, I'm gonna hit my timing. Absolutely, SERRAL hit his timing there, really knocking out the 4th and the 5th base right as adaptive talents were complete. But hey, that was game number 1. Of course, it did go really well. And MARU actually committing a little bit harder to his Reaper Micro in this game, but he will not be able to knock off, really get anything here. And yeah, this is actually really good for SERRAL. So the calculus goes, if you get 4 Zerglings, you're kind of expecting to maybe lose 1 or 2. If you get 6, you're not expecting to lose any. And SERRAL, having gotten 4 and keeping all of them alive, that makes him a little bit happier. As now, does that, again, that's an extra drone, that's a little bit faster economy, and when we're looking at decisions you make before like 3 minutes into this game, well, that is absolutely going to snowball itself pretty well here. As of course, having 4 Zerglings means that you're gonna need to buy less when you go and get defensive Zerglings later on, and getting that earlier drone means that you get more drones faster, and it really does compound. I don't exactly have the math for you, but it is in fact it is a rather impactful distinction, rather an impactful decision that you make if you're able to get away with it. Now, if you do go for 4 Zergling and you lose a couple, okay, it's a little bit more annoying. It doesn't really matter as much. And if you go 6 Zerglings and don't lose anything, yeah, it's fine. But again, small things. And these, when you're looking at 2 of the best players in the world, arguably the best players in the world in their respective races, well, it's the small things. It is the small things that do make a little bit of a difference. As we do have MARU going for Hellion Banshee behind this. And the big question, and I don't believe this will be Hellbat, because of course this was a Reaper opening. I think this is just going to be standard Hellion Banshee play from the Terran player, and SERRAL does scout that he does have Overlord speed coming on in, so he won't lose the Overlord this time. He sees the tech lab on the starport. He does see the cloak as well, so he knows exactly what MARU is up to. And he's okay. This will be a Hellbat push, so that is rather interesting. I guess just the only difference is it will be a later Hellbat push, coming in more at like 5 minutes and 15 seconds potentially than the 4:30 that we saw Kier doing with his variant of things. But again, it's not that bad. Oh no, my roommate and I are both very much into The Expanse, but I have not had a chance to get caught up on the new season yet. And I hear he's what, because they've been releasing like 2 episodes a week, I think. So I think I hear him. Actually, yeah, no, those release on Fridays. I don't know what he's doing, but I hear The Expanse theme music, and it just reminds me that I really need to get caught up on it. Because shameful display. MARU, how many Hellions does MARU have here? Okay, so 8 Hellions coming on in. It looks like a little bit more, but now we do have the morph off creep. So the first time that SERRAL will be aware of this is when, yeah, there we go. Now it's visible to the Overlord. And there are some Banelings already here, so I don't really think this is going to be all that impactful. The Banshee's not even timed up properly. They're going to go into, it looks like they want to go into the natural eventually, but not really timed up properly. But the Banelings already here. I mean, we have we don't have a whole lot coming in. Meanwhile, of course, there's a Zergling counter attack on the 3rd base of MARU, and as MARU has done some damage, yeah, he's gotten 4 workers. He is taking more damage than he has given, and that is, yeah, that does not feel good now. The Queens will find the Banshees here, and that does mean the Banshees will go away. Actually, MARU has to be careful he doesn't lose the outside Banshees. Looks like that's not what he's doing. And now this run by coming in, 9 SCVs have gone down. The 3rd base has been forced to lift, and this is disastrous for MARU in game. Actually, he's going to lose both Banshees. So let's see, MARU, Hellbat attack, we got like 4 drones. The Banshees got 2. He loses all of his Hellbats. He loses 2 Banshees. And he loses 9 SCVs, and his 3rd is going to be forced to lift 4 just about forever and a day as creeps getting dropped on that. MARU is not in a good position this game. And look at this, the Spire is just about done as well. So SERRAL is just going to have a tremendous amount of map control for the foreseeable future. As now, a bunch of Zerglings, they're going to run in here, as MARU has decided that, yeah, he needs to remove this creep, absolutely, but so many Zerglings are here, and they will, well, okay, the Marines will be able to get themselves into a good position eventually, now with the medevac. Well, this is not going to be the biggest of deals that it once was. That was looking really dangerous for a moment. It looks like the Zerglings were going to be able to trap the Marines outside of the position they were looking for, but no, they will be able to escape. And the 3rd Command Center finally going to land at 7 minutes and 30 seconds into this game. Meanwhile, now SERRAL has mutas out on the map. How many mutas do we have? Is this 8? Okay, 5 mutas, because he did have to buy Baneling up, or he did have to get Banelings to defend the earlier push. But these 5 mutas now, they're going to fly on into the main base, And there's nothing to defend here. Nothing at all. Now, of course, there will eventually be a rally, but the Mutas getting a good damage first and foremost. Meanwhile, Zerglings and Speed Banelings are going to be able to knock off this attack from the front. So Maru, he can't get anything done at home, and he cannot get anything done abroad here. Now, the Mutas, they're not 8, so they're not really bursting down SCVs, but still, 4 SCVs have died. SERRAL didn't lose anything. And now this counterattack, okay, that won't be able to get much done at all. And SERRAL, behind this, he's got his 4th base done and mining. He has incredible creep spread on the map. He has 1-1 just about done. And yeah, SERRAL's got 2-2 on the way, but the timing gap is not... Timing gap's a 30-second window. It's not a minute 30 window that you sometimes see in these games. He has +1 air just about done, and now the flock is growing. Now SERRAL up to 13 meters. Probably see him go up to 18-ish. That seems to be what he likes to do, and he will be able to potentially cancel this 4th base. At the very least, he's going to delay it for quite a bit. And it looks like MARU will be able to defend this, but still delays. SCV deaths are incredibly useful, incredibly impactful as this game does go on. Now, well, we're lacking an Overseer, and that's annoying. But now, with the Zerglings coming on in, and these are 1-1s. These are even upgrades, by the way. 1-1 Zerglings, 1-1 against +1 or 1-1 Marines. Yeah, the fight's even actually, which means SERRAL, he's in a really good position as he looks to take this fight, but he can't take it into a tank. That's going to be a little bit more difficult. Looks like we did have a Baneling run by coming in on the right-hand side. Two SCVs and a supply depot. So he is keeping MARU back. He's keeping MARU constantly reminded of the fact that SERRAL is on the map, that MARU is pinned back, is making it rather difficult for him to really do anything that he wants. And now MARU is not Kira. We don't see the 7 missile turrets in the natural that we saw Kira do in other games on this channel. So that means SERRAL is able to shirk around. He's able to burst that missile turret down without much difficulty and then just get on top of everything. As now the SCVs, they're going to try to repair. They will not be able to do so. 5 workers go down, and now with every volley, more and more and more SCVs will go down. 9 workers go down here, and more importantly, I mean, look at this. How often do you just see MARU not able to do anything on the map? MARU's just been stuck at home here, and now we have the Zergling Baneling force coming on in and getting on top of things. And this is still a good timing for SERRAL here. There is no... This is not +2. This is not 2-2 versus 1-1. No, this is 1-1 versus 1-1, which means these Zerglings, these Banelings are fighting with incredible force. And the 4th command center does go down. That's all SERRAL really wanted out of this fight. I mean, he takes a good army trade. Yeah, that's great. But he knocked out the 4th base. He has moved MARU's economy back into the Stone Age. As we look at our mineral patch positioning here, only 500 minerals left in the small ones, about 1,000 left on the big ones. Natural starting to mine out as well. And MARU, he's not happy. Economically, he's not a happy dude. Meanwhile, SERRAL has Hive on the way. He has 2-2 just about done. Now, 3-3 is getting started for MARU here. So MARU is going to have that 3-3 timing for just a bit, as we do have to wait for Hive to finish. But, I mean, SERRAL's maxed out. MARU's at 150 supply. MARU's got 71 SCVs, but they cannot mine efficiently. As we see the Mutas, they're going to come flying into the main base and just pin MARU back once again. Now, these missile turrets really are not doing a whole lot. It looks like a Thor drop coming on in here. There we go. So there will be an army to defend things, but SERRAL is just finding value here on the map. He's forcing MARU to make mistakes. He's forcing MARU to react to him. And a player as aggressive, a player as dynamic as MARU does not want to have to sit on the back foot here, wait to see what's going to happen, and go from there. No, he wants to be able to keep his opponent uncomfortable. And SERRAL is not letting him do that, as he bounces to the left and to the right, just doing a really good job of forcing MARU to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so we're going to see SERRAL maybe attack on... Okay, looks like he's realized that, this is maybe not the best idea. But again, behind this, he has his upgrades on the way. He has an Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Adrenal Glands are on the way here. He has everything he could possibly want as he moves up and takes his... What is that? His 6th base as well. So he's got all the money he could want. Yeah, he's got a bank coming on in. Although he is lacking in gas for the moment. He's got a bank coming on in here. He's got army on every part of the map. That is a lot. That is a lot of tanks that MARU has decided to make in this game. And this is actually really interesting. So standard knowledge, standard wisdom. Okay, this looks like another base. We'll go down here. Now SERRAL's going to attack in on the left-hand side. Now without Mutas, this is a little bit iffy, but some of the tanks are sieged up, so we're going to have Banelings and Zerglings getting on top of all the tanks. So yes, this is not a game-ending fight for SERRAL. I mean, it's good, but it's not game-ending. What it does mean is that all the splash damage, all the anti-ground splash damage is able to remove is getting removed. And now the Mutas, they're just getting on top of this orbital and just targeting it down And yeah, okay, we have the SCVs, they're going to go try to do what they want, but SERRAL's going to get the main base orbital, and he's going to lose like one Muta for it. One Muta and an Observer. That is an incredible move by the Finnish Zerg player. And now SERRAL, he is undoubtedly in a great position. Here, look at this. With third base, we said, yes, it's out of 16 just a minute ago. Now it's out of 10. This base is out of 8, as most of those are running out as well. Only 260 here. 15 in that one, so there we go, out of 6. Because while Mario has been able to stay on lower number bases for a while, he is running out of money, and he has been muling these bases. He's been building, he has been mortgaging his future for the present. And that is, that's always a little bit scary position to be in, as now SERRAL's going to jump on in once again. Sensor tower goes down, tank goes down, and SERRAL's got a little bit more time, so he's just going to choose to knock down supply depots, make it easier for run-bys to happen on in later on, even if he does not get the SCPs that he's looking for. And Ultra Cavern is Ultra Kindness Plating is done. Muta upgrades, Muta Armor is done. We have Ultra Speed on the way. 3-3 is just about done. And notice SERRAL here, he's aware of his timing. He's not really trying to take these big army fights for the moment. But actually, no, as I said, he's going to roll on in. Muta's finding just as many tanks as possible on the right-hand side. This is a pretty heavy mech army, honestly. It's interesting. As MARU, he doesn't... Yeah, he's got 1-1 mech. And that was... How many would we have? We have 3 tanks and 3 Thors, and we had more before SERRAL ran in and just reset the tank count, reset the Thor count. And that is pretty interesting. Generally, you don't see such a heavy connection, or not connection, such a heavy commitment to mechanical units at this point in the game. Generally, you go mech or you go bio, you get some Thors maybe, but getting so many mech upgrades. Generally, you either get carapace or attack, or you generally get armor or attack, depending on whether you're going Widow Mine focused or whether you're going like tank focused. But now, I mean, +3 Thors are pretty good units, and that's I do like that as a or +2, even +2 Thors, +1 Thors. They're also good. I do like this as a response to SERRAL's heavy Mutaplay, heavily upgraded Mutaplay, because it makes it just that much more difficult to SERRAL to really get a lot of damage done. And now with Zergling run by coming on in here into the third base. Now the Mutants will get on top of this tank. Tank is going to go down here. And Zerglings, well, now they have free reign. They have 3-3. They have adrenal glands. And they are just eviscerating this middle line, killing off everything inside. Now SERRAL looks like he tried to take a fight on the left-hand side and had a fairly good one. And there we have it. GG. SERRAL is going to take game number 2 and find himself on match point in this upper bracket of the TSL6 even. But hey, MARU is not down. He is not out. And even if he does get knocked off here, he will have the chance to fight through the loser's bracket, as I believe, well, whoever gets knocked down here, I believe some of those videos will get uploaded to the Alpha X YouTube channel in the coming weeks, cast by myself or someone else. Not really sure. But what I do know is we have game number 3. It is loaded up. It is SERRAL versus MARU. Let's get into it. And here we are, spawning in the upper left. Into the blue, up 2-0 in this best of 5. 1 game from advancing. It's SERRAL. And in the bottom right, in the red for Team NV, his life in the upper bracket on the line. It's MARU. All right, so game number 3 is on Romanticide. I don't think we're gonna see, and yeah, I mean, I really don't think we're gonna see anything too crazy in this game. And SERRAL or MARU already going for that Reaper expand. SERRAL going for something similar. I don't think we see any sort of Roach play here. These players have a long history of just playing some incredible macro games. And I mean, SERRAL, he's up 2-0. He doesn't really need to do something crazy, to do something out of the box to try to win this series. He's already in a pretty good situation in the series. Maybe if he loses this map, we might see him pull something janky out for game number 4. But why, if it ain't broke, why fix it? He's won two longer macro games, just outplaying MARU in the mid to late game. And, well, you know what? That's exactly what I expect to see from him here. Well, at the very least, I don't expect him to necessarily outplay MARU. I mean, I haven't seen the game yet. But I do expect him to try to go for something similar. Just play defensively until he gets to 3-3, until he gets to whatever he wants it. Whether it's +3 mutas as the bit of dynamic action, whether it is upgraded lurkers, whether it is... yeah, I guess those are the two. Ultras, I mean, yes, but they're more meat shields. They're not exactly the dynamite unit. They're not the thing that you're waiting for to end the game. They're just a thing you have. Alright, so MARU going for a quick third command center once again, as he is interested in getting into the mid to late game. I'm not sure how much of this is his wrist issues, where he doesn't really feel like he can maybe execute early game pressure, early game aggression quite as well as he would like. So instead he just chooses to get into the late game, where he just has a really powerful army and hopes to win through multitasking versus just sheer micro. I don't really know. But it does seem that we do see MARU favoring the late game a little bit more recently. Well, to be fair, Byun does as well. And Byun's also got wrist issues. I don't really know. Now, SERRAL is going for a defensive Roachborn here. And I think that's a pretty smart decision. MARU is down, so we could expect to see some sort of weird Hellbat timing or some sort of weird 5-ish minute timing. And SERRAL, he hasn't seen the third command center yet, so just getting this Roachborn, getting a couple safety roaches will keep him safe from a lot of stuff. And it's going to allow him to just drone hard behind this. Now, what I don't think we're going to see, although it's a pretty cool style that Dark's been doing recently, is the whole kind of Roach Ravagerling Bane into Lurker, which makes a lot of sense. Because, well, it's Roach Ravager into Lurker, I guess. And it does make a lot of sense. Roach Ravager is a powerful early game style, but what it does is it gets 1/1 ranged upgrades. And +2, +3 lurkers are incredibly powerful. So if you can go for a style, and actually there's the Roach Ravagerling Bane style too, where he gets all 3 upgrades. Anyway, if you can go for a style that gets ranged upgrades as part of the build and kind of get away with it, that makes the lurkers, when you hit that timing, so much more impactful. Because yeah, +0 lurkers are absolutely great as these queens find themselves on a little bit of a safari. But no, actually SERRAL's committing to this rather hard, as we do have a bunch of roaches coming in the right-hand side to make sure that MARU does not see them until the last minute. Zergling pathing, Verge pathing is actually looking really good. MARU here fully on the left-hand side has no idea that SERRAL is moving out here. It's just building a ton of units, a bunch of roaches, bunch of Zerglings. No Baneling Nest, but just a bunch of roaches, bunches of Zerglings. And maybe MARU's going to be aware of things, but actually no, this is not a lot. I mean, this is a lot of Zerglings now, so maybe that's going to tell MARU that something's up. But well, now he knows, as the Roaches and the Ravagers will find this nascent wall coming on in here. And there we go. I do like these biles. I do like SERRAL taking these out, because they should supply block MARU for quite a bit. And MARU has been forced to evacuate from the low ground into the high ground. Now these biles are going to land not on top of much of anything at all. But MARU, he is supply block. He's been forced to live his natural. And SERRAL is committing to this rather hard. We're not seeing the immediate drone. We're not seeing the immediate drone spam that one might see in this game. No, this is SERRAL saying, I just don't want you to have a game. I don't want you to play the game that you're maybe interested in playing here. Now, MARU does have stim, so that does make the life a little bit more difficult for SERRAL here. So MARU's just going to stim on top of the Ravagers, and Ravagers are pretty squishy units. So getting on top of that is going to be fairly good for them. But now the wall is broken, so once biles are up again, we should see Zerglings and Ravagers potentially run their way on into the main base. And there we go. The attempt is coming on in, but nothing yet. It actually looks like SERRAL is aware that maybe this isn't going to end the game, like he maybe thought he had an opportunity to do. So bunch of drones on the way. Lair is on the way here, and if MARU thinks this +1 attack is going to get done, well, he has another thing coming to him. Meanwhile, 13 SCVs died all of a sudden. I guess a bile landed. So this move goes from kind of a, oh, okay, that's why. It looks like Maru was mining from the third base, and SERRAL found that, and had a decent amount of circling, kind of running on in, wiped out that mineral line. So getting those 13 SCVs turns this attack from a, it's kind of a wash. He lifted, but he also committed a lot to it. To, this is really good for Maru. That and getting and denying the upgrades, because, well, 1-1 Ro8 Ravager against 1-1 Bio. Ro8 Ravager tends to do pretty well. 2-2 versus 2-2, Bio does a whole lot better. And, well, +3 versus +3, it is just not even a question. So the fact that SERRAL will be able to have his 1-1 upgrades far in advance of Maru. Oh, not far in advance, but before Maru here in this game, that means his 2-2 is going to be faster as well. So that's just going to make him rather happy as he tries to move on into the mid game. And I'm curious to see what his tech path comes out of here. SERRAL is not really a Ro8 player, not to my mind. I mean, he can do it. Absolutely, he's doing it right now, but this is not his modus operandi normally. Generally, he likes to play with Zerglings, he likes to play with Banelings, he likes to play with Mutas or Hydras or whatever he wants. Really, he's a Ling Hydra guy. More so than anything else. But I mean, Roaches outside of ZVZ just don't really seem to be his thing. But in this game, I mean, I don't hate it. He's going to have 1-1 faster than his opponent. He has his fourth base just about halfway done. Okay, there we go. So he's going into Ro8 Ravager Ling Bane. Maru has been able to take his third base and slowly is catching up on the worker count. As we see that significant economy advantage that SERRAL had is going to go away for the moment. Now SERRAL should be able to find this drop, and the drop will find it, one of the two. And now the Zerglings will run away, and now they're going to take the fight. Okay. So the drop is going to get forced to pick up. Meanwhile, of course, Maru, he's never fighting in any single place at the same time. He does have his force on the right-hand side, getting something done, but that doesn't mean give SERRAL the opportunity to jump on top of all the Marines in this drop on the left-hand side, and that will be forced back. But now we have Burrow Roaches on the way, and that makes things... It's not something you see all that often. I mean, it makes me very excited. But Burrowed Roaches really just, again, it's not something you see all that often. It's pretty cool to see against Bio. I'm excited to see what SERRAL will do with it, but SERRAL does have an infestation pit on the way. So that means we should see a hive go down rather quickly. And this, look, yeah, so he's going the traditional Ro8 Ravager Ling Bane into Ultralisk style that, well, was so popular for the first year and a half of Legacy of the Void. Now it's a little less popular now just because of how the meta works and how more dynamic you kind of got to be. But hey, when you got the advantage that SERRAL built himself for this game, I'm not saying SERRAL is in a position where he could build 200 supply of drones and win, but he is in a little bit of an advantage. So getting this kind of bulky mid-game composition will allow him to take that trades he wants in the mid-game and just keep Maru back, keep Maru defending, keep Maru in a position where he doesn't want. Alright, so Maru's 2-2 is a little bit delayed as well, so SERRAL should have +2 Carapace before 2-2 is done. So he's going to have a really nice timing upgrade here, even as he does lose that 5th base. But, again, Maru only just now trying to take his 4th base, and really nice little Zergling burrow there. We'll deny this from going down for the moment, but hey, there's a tank, so it's a tank. Alright, so now we have Maru here trying to see again, trying to find an opening in an airtight SERRAL. I mean, SERRAL, this is how he's played the first 2 games, and it's how he's playing this game. Trying to be a little bit aggressive, maybe finding some openings, but really, all he's doing is just not dying. Not dying to Maru. And now Maru looks like maybe he's getting ready to take a 5th base here, but Well, that is going to be SERRAL's goal here, as he does just give himself more attack windows, give more opportunities to maybe get some done. As the one Marauder hit squad finds its way in just removing all the creep. Maybe not as impactful as it once was, because, well, creep is no longer armored, creep is light. But this drop on the left-hand side, SERRAL's army was just there, but managed to miss things. And this 5th base will go down. So MARU making a really good move here, finding himself, well, finding himself on a similar base count to SERRAL for the first time in a bit. And, you know, one thing I gotta say, SERRAL went for burrowed roaches, and I was all about it. But yeah. No, we have not seen the burrowed roaches get used at all. I mean, we've seen burrow used, denying the 4th base for a while, but no burrowed roaches. I'm a bit upset. I was kind of excited for that tech path to do something. We have a bunch of parasitic bombs on top of these medevacs, and both of them will barely survive, because of course one parasitic bomb does not kill a medevac, and parasitic bombs do not stack. So all this is going to do is just force MARU to pay a little bit of money to repair things. Not the biggest of deals. Meanwhile, of course, we have a pure Ravager Bane Force on the right-hand side, trying to tangle with MARU's army. And they will force MARU back. But of course, MARU, he's got a really nice sieged up position here on the right-hand side. He will be able to take his 5th base without too many issues. And that's okay, because SERRAL is building 3 hatcheries at once. He's got 3 bases on the way at once here, and I just love being rich, don't you? Anyway, SERRAL now he's going to run on. He will find this drop on the left-hand side, and you know what? I guess with the Baneleys here, it is just barely enough to be able to fight things back. Actually, no, this is going to do more than that. We'll force everything to lift off, and now we have a bunch of roaches coming on into the main base here. I would like to see SERRAL pick off that missile turret so he can just kind of burrow under the tanks and get something done, but looks like that is not his plan. And he will back up for the moment. Backing up, of course, just waiting for the rest of his army. And interestingly, I said, yes, SERRAL, he's just going for Roach Ravager into Lingbane Corruptor, or Lingbane Ultra. No, SERRAL is going for Broodlords in this game with double Spire. This is not something you see all that often in the slides. This Blinding Cloud is incredible on top of all of the ghosts, on top of all of the tanks. That's going to allow Banelings to get on top of everything. And SERRAL's taking a decently cost-effective fight. Even as in the follow-up, he's concussive shells and snipes are making that's really hard for him to run away. But now we have the Zergling Baneley force on the right-hand side. But yeah, they're not getting on top of this. This is 4 tanks in a planetary. And curiouser, we do have SERRAL. He's getting a neural parasite. He's going full on into that Broodlord Infestor style that kind of died out with the nerf to Infestor Terrans, but no one told SERRAL that. And I guess with the amount of high ground, low ground situations here in this map, it does make sense. Alright, so now we have SERRAL running on in here as MARU tries to establish the 6th base position. Blinding Cloud on top of one of the tanks, but nothing more than that. And well, the Vipers, they're out of energy. I don't know whether they were EMP'd or just running out of energy, but it does mean that this 5th base, the 6th base will survive, and actually both Vipers will get gunned down as well. So MARU taking a dream trade here. But SERRAL, I mean, he was taking the fight so he could take a fight and maybe knock the base down, but he was also doing it to free up supply. And now with 8 Corruptors on the way and a decent amount of Infestors, well, we're going to see some Broodlords sooner rather than later. And MARU really does not have the tech to deal with this. Not really. I mean, he has tanks. Tanks are terrible against Broodlords. He has some ghosts, and if he can get the snipes off without the ghosts taking any damage, maybe that'll work well for him. Alright, it's interesting we're seeing SERRAL approach max here with his Corruptor count. We're not seeing him save enough supply for a bunch of Broodlords, but maybe this is a situation where you kind of run the Corruptors in and they just knock out all of the medevacs from the sky. As this is going to be a really nice trade here. Okay, we've run by into the 3rd base as well. Now we have finally the Burrow Roaches. They're being used properly. Well, until there's a scan. But anyway, 7 workers do go down, so that's nice. That's a nice thing for our Terran player. We have the burrow on the Zergling as well, making life just a bit more difficult. MARU not really coming to terms with things yet. Alright, so now we have Brood Lords on the map, and as the siege commences, I just one more thing. MARU, he thinks this base is in the right position. He's decided to build a planetary there, but that base is not ever going to mine efficiently. And MARU also cannot build a base in effective position, so he's going to have to kill off his own planetary if he wants the base to mine efficiently there. Now, we have a bunch of snipes coming off on all of these Broodlords, but the Fungal will be able to cancel them all, and only one Broodlord does go down. These Fungals are just really well timed, as we do have some detection as well. These Broodlords are reigning supreme. They're going to force MARU off of this base, which means MARU, he's going to be stuck back down to 5 bases for the moment. Actually, no, it looks like SERRAL's deciding to come back for the moment. That's all he has to do is just make sure that whatever goes to sniping him has damage applied to it. Alright, now with SERRAL busting in here. Now, there are some Vikings, although it looks like the Corruptors and the Vipers were able to knock those out. Well, along with the Queens, were able to knock those out of the sky. And MARU, he's going to lose his base. He's going to lose his 5th base, and MARU should notice by now that this base is out of position. This base is not going to mine nearly as efficiently as he would like. And now, actually, well, Corruptors will solve the problem for MARU here, but it looks like MARU says, okay, you know what? I want to have this problem. I want to be able to mine inefficiently from my base. And hey, more power to him. You know, it's a free country. MARU is allowed to do what he wants, even if it is not all that efficient. Now, Broodlord's sieging up this 4th base as well. Now, with the 3 tanks here, tanks are just about the worst unit against Broodlords. And now these Fungals are just going to be absolutely incredible. Interesting. We don't see Biles coming on down, but I'm not sure they're necessary. As the Banelings come crashing on in here, and so much of the Terran army just evaporates. Now, Ghosts take no damage from Banelings, so Banelings will come crashing in and do a pretty good job of that. But at the end of the day, most of the Ghosts will survive, and now we're starting to see a decent amount of snipes coming on in here. And MARU will be able to force SERRAL back, but if we look at the supply, SERRAL, he is up 30 army supply. But more importantly than that, he is up 50, 60 total supply here. And I hate to tell you, but that's looking pretty good for the Terran player, or for the Zerg player. Absolutely, his Ghosts are trying to take a fight, but not really being all that successful. They're going to get a couple of Broodlords, but SERRAL, he has moved away from this timing, because really, realistically, Broodlords are a timing. They're not a late-game committed tech all their own. So now MARU, he's committed so hard to this. Meanwhile, of course, we have a bunch of Zerglings, a bunch of +3 Crackling coming on in here, knocking this base down. Which, hey, MARU, now you have a chance to put it down in the proper place. But now here we have MARU. He's down 20 army supply. He's down 20 workers. And you know what? With the late game that we've seen players like MARU and Byun play, I don't think he's too upset about being down workers. He's going to be upset about being down bases. But I think he's sitting just about at the worker count he wants to be in for this stage of the game. It means his army, should he max out, is just going to be so much better. And with the power of mules, I mean, Terrans can max out pretty well as the snipes are going to come on in. But at what cost is three Ghosts are going to lose their lives for a snipe that doesn't even kill an Ultralisk. Alright, so now we have the Force of SERRAL coming on in here. Snipes are going to be good for the moment, so these Ultras are going to come crashing on in on pretty low health, but again, this is just a distraction. The army of SERRAL is doing what it can. These Fungals, again, they're just going to be really, really nice as they try to do whatever they can to, you know, kill the Terran player. But hey, the snipes are going to be rather nice, and okay, there we go. Now we have the Ultralisk, now we have the Cracklings taking out that base, and again, that army that SERRAL used to try to get on in, does he want to kill his opponent with it? Yeah, he'd love to, but more importantly than that, that was a distraction. That was a, oh, nice Fungal there. We'll get a couple more Ghosts, and the Ultras fire on top of things. So many Ghosts have died in this game, it is insane. 10 more workers are going down. And SERRAL with the backside Fungal coming on in here. Now, that would have been great, except for the fact that SERRAL's army ran out of steam just a little. All right, so now Maru on a last-ditch siege effort here. Down 20 army supply, but his army, it is expensive. Even as Serral's, of course, is more expensive, but Maru's army is not cheap as he's going to come running on in here. 3-3 air is coming on in. Don't even know why we're getting that. But now the Zerglings, the Banelings, the Roaches, the Ravagers, they're coming crashing on in on top of everything. And GG, Serral, he's going to take the series 3-0.